Me and Drizzy back to back, it's getting scary. If you fucking with my eyes, just don't come near me. Put some bins all on your head like Justin Terry. Whoa.
And let's get into it. The Faison View Podcast, episode 240, man. Family is forever. So as you see, I got the two icons and legends to really help me out on this podcast because it's going to be a tough one. If you guys know me, you know what I'm going through. You have an understanding of what I'm going through. But I'm really doing this podcast really just to show my grandmother respect and appreciation that she deserves, just on the real. Forget everything else. Shout out to my brothers and Hugh. I really just felt like I needed to do this podcast myself. Really just talk to everybody. It's not about me. This is about her, and it's about the people that are going through things that I'm going through right now. So really just having an open conversation, having a conversation about mental health, people that are going through these things. We're losing someone that's very, very close to them, and it hitting so differently. But my grandmother, man, amazing woman. And what really just stands out to me about this whole situation, you know, with her passing, and just be speaking openly about it, is that my grandmother was always religious, always into the Bible, always into God. You know, one of the funniest things she's always said, and I have Kyrie saying, is like, "Oh Lord," it's like calling somebody you know. And honestly, with some real stuff, my grandmother actually knew the Lord for real. She spoke it all the time, even to when I was reading those passages or saying little things. And it hit me the most, really just cherishing the moments that you have with your loved ones while they're here. Because the last text message she sent me was, "I love you," the smile. You know, simple text, simple, but also it meant so much. And what my grandmother meant to me is the world. And to be honest with you, I'm really just having this conversation, and shout out to my grandfather as well. He gave me this idea because, you know, when we go through grief, a lot of people react in different ways. But me, I'm very emotional. I'm very in tune with my feelings, especially if you have an impact on my life like my Nana did, immensely amazing impact on my family and me, you know. And it's just tough going through these times right now. But also, what I do want to do is just make sure that I speak to everybody that are going through these times, because I'm not the only one. And understanding the fact of the matter is that you only get one mother. And what my mother is going through right now, you can't fathom, I couldn't imagine. And guess what? It's me and my brother and my father's obligation to make sure that she's going to be good through these rough and tough times. I never dealt with a loss that hit this close. I've had friends, I had people pass away, and untimely, for sure, for certain. But hitting home in this magnitude, nah, it hasn't happened to me before at all. So it's just tough going through these, you know, these trying times in life. But guess what? At the end of the day, you can't be selfish. No matter what, you know, you get tired of hearing the cliche, you know, the cliche things about when somebody passes and you having, you know, just saying they're in a better place, and which is true. All that is true. But one thing you have to understand, that you can't be selfish. And I'm gonna read a passage in which my brother Hugh, his mother sends to him every day, and he sends to the group chat with us brothers. So this is a thought for the day. Waiting for him is always worth the wait. I know that I'm not alone when it comes to having to wait for things. Patience at times is not my strongest fruit of the spirit, especially if I can see no apparent reason for me to wait. However, knowing that his insight is far better than mine makes it easier to wait. His no's do not always make sense to me right away either. But in given time, I'm soon enlightened. Psalms 41-5 tells us that he hears us and how blessed we are. And when we can trust him. Daily, he helps me to see that he is always right about everything in which he is. Dr. Stanley reminds us that waiting patiently on the Lord strengthens our faith in him. We learn to rest in his loving care and accept that whatever he gives us is his best. I know that I am witnessing for others as well, and therefore I want to be a good one. So that just really just hit home with me, that message, because at the end of the day, man, no matter what you think, no matter how you think about certain situations, God knows best. But in my grandmother's situation, she was in pain. And that's one thing I would never want her to experience and go through, is pain. And understanding and being in those shoes, you have to understand that you can't be selfish when God calls upon his angels. You can't be selfish. And I really just want to talk to everybody, talk to the people. I may be brief, I may be long, but it doesn't matter. This is the appreciation of my Nana, my grandmother, who was an amazing woman. And first and foremost, I'm blessed to even have as many grandparents I do have. Understand, I have 4 grandparents. Like, honestly. And that's rare, because a lot of people don't have 1, don't have 2, or have lost their grandparents. You know, I was blessed with grandparents that love me wholeheartedly. And it's nothing like a grandparent's love. Nothing at all. Just like how I see Kyrie, his eyes sparkle when he sees his Nani and Papa, my parents. You know, like that's how I was with my grandmother. It's so many stories I can go down the line with talking about her. But I just really want to rejoice and show her appreciation. I love you, Nana, for real. This is tough for me, but guess what? It's even tougher for my mother. It's even tougher for my uncle at this time. So it's apparent that at the end of the day, I will remain, not must, I will remain strong for my mother, because you only get one. You only get one. And cherish those moments and cherish those times that you have with your loved ones, because you don't get those back. You don't get it back. 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, you don't get that time back. You know, it hurts me dearly, but for sure, she would want me to do this. And also, just being honest, my grandmother was a supporter of my show, a supporter of everything that her grandchildren have done, her children have done. What I loved about my grandmother, and what everybody loves about her, was she spoke how she felt. She didn't hide her feelings for nobody at all. And that's why I really love her wholeheartedly. It hits me differently, because like I said earlier, I never heard of pain like this. But I also want to extend my hand to everybody that's going through trying times like this, or that are going through things. You know, it's a lot of people that lost their lives, lost their parents, lost their siblings, lost a lot of things, especially within recent dealing with COVID. So I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. And then also with me, you know, not taking things for granted, having an understanding of what life is. Because my grandfather, he really explained it best. Like, we all have our start and we all have our end date. You know, no matter how you feel about it, it's no avoiding it. That's just what it is. That's life. That's life. And while you're here, you gotta appreciate every moment. And my grandmother did just that. My grandmother did just that. And what was very noticing to me, something that I noticed about my grandmother, she was just, and she's very religious, she's very spiritual and one with God. It was just her time. She just didn't want to be in pain no more. I don't want her to be in pain. You know, imagine being in pain for a long period of time and suffering, and still having to put a smile on your face, you know, for your loved ones. You know, having to communicate, having to talk when you don't have the energy to do so. It's different. It hits different. So I just felt like it was very, very important for me to come on here, show my grandmother the most love I possibly can. You know, it's hurt me. I'm tearing up. But at the end of the day, that's another thing we just take for granted, you know, crying, showing your emotions, being one with yourself. Because at the end of the day, you know, you like crying is healthy, man. Crying is healthy. Going through these times of grieving, you know, of course, you don't want it to happen, but it's life. It's going to happen. You know, it's not inevitable. It's all about not if, it's when. And that goes for every single body. It goes for every single body. So within these times, you know, please keep everybody in prayers. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm just talking about everybody in general, because you don't know. You know, you see things on social media, you see things here and there, and it's just like, wow, that's happening there. Wow, somebody had lost their life. Wow. But when it hits you and it touches base at home, understand, man, that people are going through things too. So reach out. Reach your hand out to everybody, because that's what I want to do with this podcast right now, is reach out to those who are feeling the same way I'm feeling. Because I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And neither are you. For real. And really just shout out to my mother, for sure. Shout out to my mother, because she is the strongest woman I've ever met and I will ever know. Honestly. She keeps this family together. And it's tough to see my mother like that. So only imagine what she is going through and what she's feeling. For real. My mother means the world to me. And it hurts to see her hurt. It really does. But at the end of the day, like we just said, and I have to be strong. And it's not saying don't show my emotions, don't show my feelings. That doesn't mean that. But I had to be strong for my mother. I had to be strong for my son. I had to be strong for the ones that are around me. For real. Because as life moves on and life goes on, you know, everybody will have that day. For sure. You have to understand that. You have to come to grips with that. But also, it's important that we cherish all of the time that we possibly can with our loved ones, with the people in our corners, with the people we love and support. You know, because times like this, they're going to happen. Unfortunately, they're going to happen. But who is going to be the hand to reach out and pull you up? Who's going to be that hand? And I just wanted to shout out everyone that is going through a trying time right now. Everybody that's going through grief. Anybody that is going through a stress. Just want to reach my hand out to you, man, and say that I love you, for real. No matter if I know you or not. Because we all in this together. Love it, like it, or hate it. We all in this together. We all we got. So it's best that we continue to support each other. For real. And really, I needed my two legends and icons to help me with this one and get me through this. You know, but also, like I said, man, don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to show your emotions. Don't be afraid to talk to somebody. Seriously, don't be afraid to talk to somebody. Because it doesn't show weakness. It shows strength. You know, it shows strength. I love you now with all my heart. I can name so many stories. I can rejoice. I'm very, very sad, very beyond measures. But I'm also rejoicing because I know my grandmother. I know my Nana, for sure. I know her mindset. And honestly, this is what she wanted. Because at the end of the day, she lived a beautiful life. She was a beautiful woman. With so much insight, with so much information. Strong beyond measures. She lived in a time where things were very different. And raised two children where things were very different. When it wasn't easy to do so. And it's just, it's hurtful, but it's like so many people that she's impacted, so many people that she's touched, they're gonna feel that forever. I'm gonna feel that forever. Forever. You know, that's why when it comes down to an argument, whatever the case may be, the debate with your family or whoever it may be, just let it go. Let that go. Because you never know what the next day holds. You never know when you're going to speak to anyone last. You just don't know. My last text message to my grandmother, in which wasn't replied, but it didn't need to be replied. I just wanted her to know that I love her wholeheartedly. Me and my son, there's nothing in this world that ever can take away the moments, the memories, and each and every second I've spent with her. Nothing can take that away. Nothing. So I just come on here. I'm not trying to be long-winded because I'm very emotional. It doesn't take me, a lot, but but to show that, I have no problem doing that. There's people out here that are going through the same thing I'm going through. And while I'm speaking about my experience and speaking what I'm going through, I promise you, you are not alone. We are not alone. I'm not the only one with issues. I'm not the only one with problems. I'm not the only one grieving. So, not for a second will I be selfish. Not for a second will I not speak up. Because I know my grandmother would want me to. For sure. And shout out to you, Granddad, my grandfather, Big Danny, for even speaking this into existence, because I was going through a tough time. I reached out to all my grandparents during this time. And thankfully, I still do have grandparents. You see what I'm saying? People don't have that luxury. So I'm sitting in sorrow, but also it's time to get up and be strong. Because guess what? Even though I'm feeling this pain, my mother's going through it. Even though I'm feeling this pain, my brother's going through it. Even though I'm feeling this pain, my uncle going through it. I'm here. I'm here. I'm not going nowhere until God willing. But I will be here in love and support, not for just my family, but for you guys, the ones that are listening. For real, for real. I want everybody to know and understand that you are not alone. You're not alone. Family is forever. Family is forever. You gotta cherish every single moment. Cherish every single moment. But like I was just saying, man, our God is an amazing God. Everything for a reason. Now he has his brightest angel. Literally, his brightest angel to me. For sure. For real, man. This hit different. I'm still going through it. This is very fresh. But I couldn't not record. I couldn't, because I really, really want people to feel the pain, because guess what? The same pain I'm going through is the same pain somebody else is going through. The same pain this person is going through. I'm not alone, just like they're not alone. But it's important that we speak on these matters and we speak on things of that, because just like birth, death also is a very sad and grieving time, but it's a celebration of life. My grandmother, I don't want to, just blatantly say her age, but she was 70 plus years old. You can say that's still young. I would say that's still young. But she lived her life to the fullest. She truly did. And I'm truly blessed that God has blessed me with her being in my life. So before I go, man, just God bless you all, man. God bless you all. I love you, Mom. I love you so, so much. Because you get one mom. I can't imagine. So, no matter what, we will remain strong, but don't shy away from those tears. Don't shy away from your emotions. Embrace it. Welcome it. Welcome it. Because that's the process of healing. And understand that you are not alone. For sure. Rest in peace, rest in power, and rest in paradise to the brightest angel, my grandmother. I love you, Nana. Y'all peace. Man, make sure you tune in. Much love, y'all.